Well, good. It's good to see everybody again this afternoon. So glad to be back with you. I do want to just give out one more reminder. The sign-up sheets for Wednesday night classes are now in the back, as I said they would be this morning on the foyer as you exit. Please do take a look at those on your way out. I did this back in the fall. You may remember with our Be Rich series, and I don't want to make it a constant practice, but there are times when I hear a sermon or a sermon series and I think, well, I can't keep that to myself. That is too good. I've got to share that. It is my job to share that, because if it is so transformational to me, well, it just wouldn't be right to keep it in. And so I'm going to use a lot of borrowed material, and I just want to call that out on the front end anytime I do it. But this is a series that I heard probably about 6 years ago, and it was so transformational. It stuck with me such. I could probably preach the series without any notes. I'm not going to do that. But it just sticks with you because it was so impactful. Decision making. We all make decisions. Your life is a series of decisions. If you think about it from a day-to-day perspective, there's a lot of little decisions that get you through each and every day. But more than that, I mean, there's pretty big ones, pretty influential decisions, so to speak, that come up pretty often. I mean, you think about it from a young person's perspective. You know, I think they might be interested. Should I date this person? We've been dating for a while, and it seems to be going nowhere. Should I break up with this person? We've been dating for 3 years now. Is this the one? Should I marry this person? What should I go to college? Where should I begin my work career? Should we start a family? When should we start a family? Should we have another baby? Should we rent? Should we buy? You go on and on and on. Should my kid be dating that kid? Oh, I think my kid's about to marry that kid. How do you do that in-law thing? How do you do that grandparent thing? Decisions over and over. Our life is a series of decisions, and we want to decide well. And so what I want to do, we're going to start today, and this is going to be a 4-part series. I want to submit to you 4 questions. 4 questions that we can ask ourselves when we're in the decision-making moment, when time is short. Maybe it's a tough decision. Maybe it's a decision I thought I'd never have to make, and I don't really want to make this decision, but a decision has to be made, and it has to run through me. There's 4 questions that I want to give to you that will be absolutely crucial. These are great questions to ask when we need to make a decision. The thing about decision making, information is always limited. Specifically, we wish we could see the future. We wish we could see how this decision is going to pan out. If I do this, what's going to happen? If I don't do this, what's going to happen? We wish we could see all that, but we can't. And we have to go on what we have, and a decision has to be made. And it's fascinating. If you ever get somebody just telling their story, tell me your story. Tell me where you came from. Tell me how you got to where you are. And you hear them rattle off a series of decisions, basically. And they'll say some things where you think, wow, that defined who you are right now. That got to the core of your identity, that decision you made back when. That's why you are where you are today, either in career, either in geographic location. Wow, that was a big decision, but as you hear them tell it, you come to realize you didn't know that when you made that decision, did you? You had no idea that decision was going to be as large as it was. And if we want to look back on our decisions and we want to think, wow, I'm so glad I made the one that I did. You can probably look back on decisions right now, and it kind of even just turns your stomach just a little bit to think, I almost didn't do that. I almost didn't make that decision, and where would I be today if I hadn't have done that, or if I hadn't have not done that? You could probably think back to some decisions like, man, I'd really like to remake that one. I'd like to go back if that's the way that life worked, but it doesn't. And we can't tell future. But these 4 questions that we're going to talk about this week, next 4 weeks running, they'll get us as close as we can get. And I want to start now with question number 1. Question number 1, am I being completely honest with myself? Am I being completely honest with myself? Am I telling myself the truth about why I'm inclined to go one direction or the other? Am I telling myself the real reason? Because here's the fact. Here's what I know about you because I know about me. You are an expert at selling yourself on what you want to do. You're an expert at selling yourself. You might not have any advertising experience. You might have never gone to a marketing class. You might not can sell anything to anybody ever, but you can sell it all to you. You are an expert at selling yourself on something that you really want to do. And it's crazy. Our heart gets latched to an idea. We get going in the wrong direction. And before we know it, we really don't have anybody to blame except for ourselves, because we bought our own sales pitch. We sold ourselves, and we're an expert at selling ourselves. And we never pause to ask the question, am I being completely honest with myself? Am I being completely honest with myself? Another way of asking this question is, why am I doing this? And you have to pause. Really? Why am I doing this really? What's the real reason? Why am I doing this? And the reason we don't naturally ask this question is because it can get real convicting real quick, real uncomfortable real quick. Sometimes we don't even want to know why we do what we do. We just want to push past and we want to do it. But we got to stop and ask this question. If we want to live peaceably with our decisions, we deserve to stop, ask the question, am I being completely honest with myself? Now, there's something else, a complicating factor of sorts. And if you didn't already know it, I want to share it with you now. There's something kind of wrong with you. There's something kind of wrong with you, something kind of wrong with me. We don't really have any control over it. And I want to take you to Jeremiah chapter 17. Jeremiah is going to explain this to us. And in order to do that, I want to kind of set up a little bit of the history. What's the context? What is Jeremiah seeing going on as he's writing these things? Jeremiah was a prophet in the southern kingdom of Judah during about the 620s to about the 580s BC. The northern kingdom of Israel had already been taken into captivity about 100 years earlier. Now Judah, they've kind of gone up and down. Now they're in a period of judgment as well. Around the 580s is when Jeremiah ends his prophetic ministry because Jerusalem is conquered. God had told Judah, if you keep my covenant, I will go before you. I will protect you. I will fight your battles for you. But if you break my covenant, if you go against me and reject my covenant, I will let you be destroyed. I will let you spin in the wind until you come to your senses. And now Judah, they've had a couple of good kings. As a matter of fact, when Jeremiah started his prophetic ministry, there was a good king in place. But then they had a couple of bad kings, and they've fallen into this rut, and there's this fatal pattern of idol worship that has set up. And now Judah has entered into this period of judgment. Nebuchadnezzar has come on the scene about this time. He's gone on a campaign down to Egypt. Nebuchadnezzar conquers Egypt, and on his way back up, he conquers Jerusalem as well. He doesn't destroy it at this time, but what he does is he sets up a vassal king, Jehoiakim. And Jehoiakim, you are the servant king. You're not a real king. You just pay your taxes to me, you report to me, you do what I say, everything will be fine. Don't get any ideas. You're not a real king, Jehoiakim. You play by the rules, everything will be fine. And Jeremiah he's prophesying at this time, and he's saying, yes, do that. Serve Nebuchadnezzar. That is God's will. What we need to be worried about right now is not who the king is, but who we're going to serve. What God are we going to worship? That's the problem we need to be addressing right now. But God has prophesied through me, yes, do what Nebuchadnezzar says, serve him. And if you look in 2 Kings chapter 24, Jehoiakim, he plays around for about 3 years. He follows Nebuchadnezzar, and then he turns and he rebels. Now, just to set this in context, this would be like the southern half of Alabama rebelling against the United States of America. It's ridiculous that Jehoiakim would rebel against King Nebuchadnezzar. And Jehoiakim is squashed. His direct heir, Jehoiachin, is taken into captivity back in Babylon, and Nebuchadnezzar comes down and he sets up a new vassal king, Zedekiah. Zedekiah, you now are the vassal king. You now pay the taxes to me. You follow my rules. You sit here in Jerusalem as someone who listens to me and passes on my rules, but don't get any ideas, Zedekiah. Don't make me come back down here because you're not the real king. And Nebuchadnezzar goes back. And the very last sentence of 2 Kings chapter 24, and Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. And Jeremiah has again been prophesying, yes, listen to Nebuchadnezzar. It's God's will. God is prophesying now. Even if you somehow could come up with the army that could defeat Nebuchadnezzar's army, God wouldn't honor it. God himself would find a way to defeat you because God is judging you. You don't need to be worried about who the king is. You need to be worried about who your God is and who you're going to serve and who you're going to worship. Zedekiah didn't listen. And time again, by the way, that is the point at which Jerusalem is crushed. Jerusalem is burned. The temple is burned. What happens to Zedekiah? Nebuchadnezzar chases him out into the wilderness there. He kills his sons before his eyes, before he gouges his eyes out. And that's the end of Zedekiah when he's taken back to Babylon to captivity himself. And Jeremiah's just beating his head against the wall, time and time again, seeing these kings make terrible decisions. He's at one point in the bottom of a well. Zedekiah gets tired of hearing him, so he puts him in the bottom of a well. He's sinking in the mud, still prophesying, which is kind of funny to me. You walk by a well and, repent. Where's that coming from? He's down in the well. He's still prophesying, still trying. He's beating his head against the wall because these guys don't listen. And in that context of these terrible decisions, Jeremiah is writing the book of Jeremiah, making these prophecies, and he writes something that's true of the human heart. It was true of the heart of Jehoiakim, true of the heart of Zedekiah, true of my heart, true of your heart. It tells us why the heart can't be trusted. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? The heart is deceitful. Your heart, my heart, your mama's heart, your grandbaby's heart. Somebody said, no, not my grandbaby's heart. Your grandbaby has a deceitful heart. Just give him a couple of years, and you'll see it. He says, you have a deceitful heart, and it is beyond all cure, desperately sick. What does that mean? It means it can't be cured. There is no cure. You won't mature past this. You won't educate past this. You won't read enough Bible to fix this. You won't pray enough to fix this. You won't come to church often enough to fix this. It's beyond cure. For the rest of your life, you will always carry this with you because your heart is permanently broken. And what that means is every single time you make a decision, you do so knowing that the heart carries the ability to deceive you. Every time I make a decision, I have to be aware that I carry the potential to deceive myself. And realize we're using the word deceive here. The word deceive is different than the word dishonest. You know people that are dishonest. They lie to you. They tell you something that is not true instead of what is true, but you see through it. You see, you're just telling me a lie. It's not true, and you know not to trust those people. But deceit is different than dishonesty. Deceit is I'm going to mix just a little bit of truth with a little bit of lie so that I can fool you, so I can manipulate you and get you to make the wrong decision. I'm going to deceive you. And that's what your heart has the ability to do to you. And that's why we can look back on our lives and we can see where we did some of the dumbest things and we have no idea, why did I do that? I should have seen that coming. It's because my heart can deceive me. My heart has the potential to deceive me. He says, deceitful, it's beyond all cure. And look how he ends it. Who can understand it? Who can understand it? Who can understand Jehoiakim or Zedekiah taking this little, 2 tribes left. Israel is already gone. We've got this little bitty corner of the earth. Let's go against the whole world. Let's go against Nebuchadnezzar. Who could understand that? Who could comprehend what's going through their mind? But you look back at your own life and you think about purchases that you've made and credit that you've racked up. I can't understand what I was thinking at that time. You think back on some relationships that you've been in. What was going through my mind? How could I ever have fallen into that relationship? You think on decisions that you've made, and there's times I can't understand it. I don't understand myself. Jeremiah says, welcome to my world. The heart is deceitful, above all things, desperately sick. Who can understand it? How does it work? Our heart gets emotionally wrapped around an option. That's what I want. That's what I want for a bunch of reasons that I'm not going to acknowledge, but that is what I want. So brain, I'm going to need you to come up with some rationale. Give me some reasons. Give me some reasons, brain, for why I want to do that, because people are going to ask, Jordan, why are you doing that? And I can start spouting off all my crazy reasons that I've come up with for why I'm doing that. If you have children, you might have seen this before. Because you've argued with them, and they start giving you reasons, and you're sitting there thinking, that's not why you want that. That's not why you did that. That's not why you're not studying. That's not why you want me to buy that for you. And they're giving you all these reasons, and you're just thinking, no, you're just being selfish. No, you're just lazy. No, you're just being mean. And you can see straight through it. You can see through the lie, but when it's me, when it's my lie. When I'm trying to sell myself, I believe, because my heart is deceitful and beyond all cure. Am I being completely honest with myself? Why am I doing this really? Am I being completely honest with myself? If you'll ask yourself that question, I'll tell you what you're going to experience two things. Number one, it's a very liberating question. Number two, it's a very terrifying question. It's liberating because the reason that we lie to ourselves, it's the lies that give us the energy to push through and make the wrong decision. And when the lie is exposed, it loses its power, it loses its energy, and we lose the motivation to push forward towards that wrong thing that we ought not to do. So the reason being brutally honest with ourselves is so liberating is because when we expose the lie, it loses its power over us. And it's incredibly liberating. But it's a terrifying experience. It is absolutely terrifying. It's terrifying because now you know the truth. It's terrifying because now you're accountable to you. It's terrifying because now I have to say that the reason we're moving is not so that we have room for the missionaries because they might come to visit us one day and we'll need room for them. And it's not because we've outgrown our needs. It's because I can't have my friends over when their house is nicer than mine. The real reason is I'm insecure. It's a terrifying thing to say. The real reason I can't say that I'm afraid, I can't say that. Brain manufacture something. The real reason is I feel lonely. The real reason is I feel ugly. The real reason is I feel left out. The real reason is maybe my dad will approve of me. I've been coming up with different reasons. I got 12 other reasons, and that's really it, though. If maybe I could take this job, if I could make this move, if I could start this company, maybe then they'll be proud. And now we're getting somewhere. Now you're getting somewhere, but it's a terrifying place to be. It's terrifying to see yourself in the light that you might never, ever want to see yourself in. But do you know what happens when you see yourself in the light of reality? Now you become a candidate for God's amazing grace. When I deal with myself in the light of reality, now I open myself up for God's amazing grace. And you'll experience this scripture that you've probably heard 100 times before. It's election year. You've probably heard of the politicians even use it in the wrong context. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And you'll be liberated. But it's a difficult place to get to because we are so naturally salespeople. We sell ourselves, and we will always have the capacity and the propensity to fool ourselves the rest of our life. We're going to have to make decisions that we didn't sign up for, and we want to make decisions that we're proud of, that we don't have to hide from. We can show them in the light. This is the decision that I made, and we can do that. We can do that because, yes, our heart is deceitful above all things. Yes, it is beyond cure. Yes, nobody can know it, but you can be freed from its power if you will tell yourself the truth. Am I being completely honest with myself? Why am I doing this? Really? What's the real reason that I'm doing this? Am I being completely honest with myself? If you're here this afternoon and you're not a Christian, I want to offer the invitation to you, but I want you to do this while it's still fresh on your mind. If you're not a Christian tonight, you deserve the answer to this question. Your eternity hangs in the balance. The real reason I've never given my life to Jesus Christ is. The real reason. Not the reason that I give everybody else. There's a bunch of hypocrites over there. One time way back when somebody said something to me and now I'll never. Okay, you can keep on using that if you want to, but be honest with yourself. The real reason I've never given my life to Jesus Christ is. And if you're here and you're not a Christian, might I just say there's a reason that you're in a church building on a Sunday afternoon instead of being anywhere else doing anything else. There's a reason you're here. It's because Jesus is calling you to himself through the gospel that we proclaim here. And you know there's no reason good enough to not give your life to him. There's no reason. If you are a Christian, but you're letting sin hang around in your life, you also deserve an answer. The real reason I let that hang around in my life is, the real reason I've not kicked that out of my life yet, the real reason I've not reached out for help concerning this matter, the real reason I keep telling myself I've got this under control, the real reason, why is it still in your life? Why is it still hanging around? At least be honest with yourself. Are you being completely honest with yourself? And if in all honesty you would say there's any need for you to come while we stand and we sing, please do so.